Hi, this is Natasha Lara-Lewis with Esther's Place, and welcome to our virtual farm tour. We've got a lot to share with you today, so come along with me for a tour. This is our farm, Big Rock Organics at Lamb of God Farm, and we've been here for 20 years. We actually moved in Memorial Day weekend, 2000, so can you believe it, 20 years. My parents kind of stepped into this new way of life. We were suburbanites. We lived in the Aurora, Naperville area, and we just felt this calling on our hearts that we wanted to move out to Big Rock. And I think it was really just God calling us to this greater dream that we didn't even know what was in store. So we came out here looking for some property and ended up through like a friend of a friend finding this farm. So we have 8 acres here at the corner of Jericho and Hinckley Road. We are actually one of the last houses in Kane County. DeKalb County is just a street away, County Line Road. And our little 8 acres is quite unique because we have a lot of old farm buildings from the original Welsh settlers that came here in the 1840s and settled Big Rock. But we also have some new buildings, and we also have organic land that's been kept that way by all the previous owners. So it's a really unique property. So when we moved in, I was only 12 years old and my brother was 8, and we really just embraced this farm life wholeheartedly. We started out with 2 sheep, and that's kind of a funny story. Our neighbor, Flo Getzelman across Route 30, was just a beautiful old farm lady soul kind of person, actually more like Annie Oakley, a little bit intimidating and scary, and also very wise, and with a lot of good common sense. And so when we moved out here, we had this inkling of wanting to raise sheep, and so we actually went knocking on her door one day and she came out, "Mom, what do you want?" And we explained our whole story, how we just moved out here, you know, from suburbia, and we're looking forward to learning how to farm, and we want to get a couple sheep. The short and long of it was that we were restoring the house, which you can see behind me where I grew up, and it was a 70s ranch, definitely in need of a little bit of updating from the avocado shag carpeting. So we were living in this white garage over there, and we were getting the house remodeled. And when we went over to Flo Getzelman to get our first 2 sheep, we said, like any good suburbanite who likes to plan their life, we said, you know, we'd like to actually just spend some time getting settled. Maybe if we put a down payment on our on a couple sheep, you know, we could pick them up like later in the year when we have a little less going on and when we feel more settled. And she said, "Oh honey, we're not babysitting your sheep all summer, we're bringing them tomorrow." And so we literally moved in Memorial Day weekend, and as of, you know, a couple days later, had our first 2 sheep. So our first 2 sheep were a mom and a baby, and their names were Lily and Tulip. We decided that we kind of go with this like flower theme and name all of them flowers. So it was kind of fun. And we grew our flock of Cheviot sheep really slowly. So our first 2 sheep were kind of the beginning of everything. And now we've got over 20 sheep. I know a lot of people ask me, how many do you have exactly? And I said, well, have you tried counting sheep? It's not always the easiest task. So they're out here in the pasture, and you know, we'll come meet them in a couple of minutes. They're probably pretty excited to get some food here, so they're gonna come up and see me at the fence. Hey girls, how are ya? Hi everybody. So our Cheviot sheep originally came from Scotland. They were a breed that actually was known to graze the estates of the nobles. Hi girls, how are you? They're like, what's going on? Do you have food for me? Yes, I do have food. We'll get you some food in a few minutes here. And so our sheep are known for being a smaller breed. They also are known for being just a little bit like hyper and a little bit kind of energetic. And they're also known for being very good mothers and producers of a medium quality wool that's great for needle felting. Hey girls! Oh, they want to get in the picture too, don't they? They're actually eating my clothing, so I think I need to give them some attention. And so our little flock here all started with the two, mama and baby, Lily and Tulip, and since then grew. It actually grew one year kind of exponentially because we got a new ram, and he was kind of a rambunctious ram and jumped the fence one night and got in with all the girls, and that led 5 months later to doubling the size of our flock. Hi, sweet mama, how are you? How are you? Yes. And so we ended up having double the number of sheep that year, and then he did it the next year. So we actually grew our flock from about 15 to 30. It was a little crazy. So what we learned in that whole process is that raising sheep, you know, you really want to be a good shepherd, and you really want to take care of your flock. And you know, the Bible talks about knowing the sheep and the sheep knowing you, and there really is something true to that. And so keeping our flock to, you know, like around 20 sheep or even 15 or so would be ideal to me, because then we can really take the time and the effort to get to know each one and their little quirks and their little personalities and things like that. So I know a lot of people, when they look at the sheep, ask me, how do you know what sheep is what? To be completely honest, there are a few of my favorites, like this one I call Sweet Mama. She's very sweet. She comes right up to you. She's licking my fingers because I have some grain on them. And then I do have a couple of ones that I recognize because of their markings or their personality. But sheep, just like people, have certain character traits that you can learn to recognize them by, and that's how we know who's who. And it's just kind of one of those things that you have to get to know everybody, and you know, then you know who's who. Even though they all look white and they all look the same, they each have their own distinctive personality. Throughout the years, we've had some very special sheep, and one of them was Gildy. Gildy we actually adopted from a farm, a neighboring farm, a number of years ago. And when we got her, the farmer said, you know, she's a little lamb that needs an extra bit of TLC, maybe you could take care of her. And so her legs were weak, and so as they strengthened, she was able to stand more easily and everything like that. And she ended up becoming just the sweetest sheep in the flock. And her daughter, Genevieve, it was just a sweetheart as well, and she was kind of the one that would always climb up on the fence to come and see you, and just always wanted to hang out with you. And so Genevieve actually passed away this winter. We were pretty sad about that. She's just a sweetheart, and definitely she'll be missed. And you know, a lot of other little fun personalities. Of course, those of you who are new might not know Esther was a sheep. She's not with us any longer, but she was also one of the fun sheep. She and Gildy grew up together. They were both bottle lambs. So anyways, the one thing that I have to say, you know, growing up doing this, I fell in love with the sheep. I really enjoyed the midwifery and taking care of the birthing and the lambs. I've learned a lot about that, and I've helped assist at almost every delivery, pulling out the lambs, taking care of them. But, you know, definitely you learn a lot about life and death, raising animals, and, you know, a lot of good life lessons. So really enriched me growing up. But I do love animals, and I do love all their fun little quirks and personalities and things like that. So a couple little facts about sheep you might not know. Sheep usually live to be about 7 to 10 years old, and they have you know, of course, a wonderful ability to graze. As you can see, they have teeth only on the bottom actually, and they have a dental pad on the top. So when they graze, they cut the grass down really nicely. The sheep will get different sized teeth each year, so actually you can identify their age by their teeth, so that's kind of an interesting thing. And there's about 900 different breeds of sheep from all across the world, and they have, you know, different qualities, you know, with their personality, but also their fiber and their hardiness and things like that. So they're just wonderful animals. They definitely respond to, you know, connection and touch and love being loved. So we're gonna grab a little bit of food for them because obviously they're enjoying the pasture, but I want you to see just a little bit of food. So let me go grab that grain and we'll take and feed them a little bit of grain. One of the highlights of the open house, of course, is getting to feed the sheep. And so we usually have a bucket full of food and you can take and feed the sheep, and that's pretty fun. So I'm gonna grab this inside the barn here and then we'll step back outside. Now, I'm only one person and usually we have a whole bunch of people helping out with feeding the sheep. So this should be interesting. I might get mobbed. So what do sheep eat? A combination of oats and corn. They also eat hay in the form of either dried hay, well, grass actually, in the summer, and then dried hay in the winter. Hey girls, I got some food for you. Hey girls. Hey, they're like, I don't know, you're not very convincing. Hey girls. If I get the food out, then they'll all start coming. All right. Oh, I got some food for you. Usually if we just shake and rattle the food, they'll all start coming. Now, some people ask us if we have, you know, sheepdogs or herding llamas and things like that. But no, we don't. We just shake a bucket of food and basically that, you know, does the same thing. All right, so this is why if you get the food out, you're gonna have kind of a stampede. Believe me, I have fed them this morning. They just, they love this stuff because it's like a special treat. It'd be like giving full access to a dessert bar. It's like candy and cake and everything delicious. They love it. It's really fun and tickly. It actually is kind of cool to feel. And they don't bite you or anything. They might get a bit aggressive though. They really want their food. Okay, hi girls. It's a sheep mob. Look at that. Hi girls. Hi girls. So the main reason we got into raising sheep was for the wool. And as you can see, they've been shorn already this season. And we'll post a video up of the shearing. It's kind of a fun process to watch. But we have a sheep shearer who comes in. He's actually like second generation sheep shearer. And he will shear the sheep in about 3 minutes. It only takes a couple minutes to shear the sheep. Okay, this is getting a little zany out here. Oh, but they're having such a fun time, aren't they? So you can see their fleece has grown in a little bit since they got shorn back in March. And it'll grow for about 3 inches or so in an entire year. And then we'll shear it again next spring. So, okay, girls. All right, all right. No fighting, no fighting. Come on, loves. It's all right. It's all right. I know. The squeaky wheel always gets the grease. You know, people always say that phrase, but it's absolutely true. The bigger, bolder, and more aggressive you are, you will get more food. That is just scientifically proven. I know. All right. Well, somewhere in this batch we have our 2 lambs from last year. So those of you who came out to the farm got to meet Indy and Evie. And they are both in this batch, but they're probably hanging back. They're a little bit more shy. So these are all girls in here, and we have the boys out in the other pasture. You can kind of see them over there, looking very sad because they don't have a treat of grain for them. You're fine, boys. That's Daddy Ram and the little ram from last year, who actually has turned into quite a little punk teenager lately. I'm not too happy. He's been beating up on Dad. We got some parental issues going on there. Well, I don't think it's the ram's fault. I think it's the little boy testing his independence. All right, girl. I think that's good. I think that's good. So let's go meet a few more animals. I believe we've got some ponies out over here. Let's go see the ponies. So we've had our sheep, and the ponies came to us kind of by happenstance. We actually adopted these guys, and when we got them, we got Misty and her buddy Orion. And Orion was like a chocolate colored, let's see, I think he was a miniature, no, he was a Shetland pony, and then she's a miniature horse, I believe. And horses are not exactly my expertise area. This was a friend of my brother's who got these. And so the two did not get along very well. Misty, actually, the female, was very overbearing and would kick Orion when they were eating. She's just not the nicest little pony. And so she had a lot of bad habits like biting and kicking. And so when we first got them, we were actually thinking she might have been pregnant because she looked a little chubby. But that did not prove to be the case. And so about 3 or 4 years went by. Poor Orion had to put up with Misty's, you know, overbearing personality, we'll just put it that way. And one spring, I got a phone call from my dad, and he said, "You will never believe what was just born." And I said, "Oh, did we have some lambs born?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Did we have triplets born? Because we've never had triplets before." He said, "No." And he said, "We had a pony born. We did not know that she was pregnant." And apparently Orion and Misty got along long enough one night to make a little baby. But that is how Charlie Horse was born. So the ponies are sweet, but they are still under training, and they actually are a little bit nibbly. So when we have people over, we recommend, you know, just look at the ponies. You don't probably want to pet them. They might nibble at you. But Charlie here on the left is like a mini version of his mama. And when he was born, he was tiny. He was like, you know, about 30 inches tall maybe. He was a real cutie. So he's probably about 5 now or so, and they get along really well. So we did find another home for Orion because, you know, it just wasn't fair to keep him in an unloving situation. So he found a new home, and we now have these two guys. So a lot of people ask us, what do you do with the ponies? Well, they're just purely here for their cuteness. All their intense cuteness, yes. So they are not here for pony rides, and they don't pull a cart or anything like that. But we're working on it. Maybe we can get them to train. Hey, Charlie, right now they're pretty entertained with their food. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Misty. Hey, guys. All right. Let's see. Hey, Maud. Hey, Maud. Oh, Maud. I want to go see if we can go call Maud over here. So one of our, hey, Maudie. Hey, Maudie. She's over here behind me. She is our resident chicken, and she's really the best. Let me go grab some food. That might help. So we've had chickens down through the years here, but we do live very close to a creek, and that can be problematic. We get a lot of predators and things like that. And so one year we had a batch of chickens, and Maud was a chick then. Come here, Maudie. Come here, Maudie, look. I have food for you. She usually comes running straight over. She can hear the tires on the driveway, and then she knows you're coming, and she comes running over to see you. Come here, Maud. She must be pretty entertained with something over there. Hey, Maud. Look, look, look. one of her favorite pastimes is finding worms. So when I take the tiller and start it on the tractor, she can hear that and she comes running because she knows that the worms will get flying up and we'll be able to catch some worms. Hey Lottie, come here sweetheart. Come here. Oh, she's thinking about it. All right, well we might have to come back to her. We'll come back. I want to tell you the story of Maud. In the meantime, let's go head into the barn. We're gonna see some lambs. I know that's the moment we've all been waiting for. So in the spring, we have lambs born. Now we've kind of scaled back a little bit, and this year we have just had a couple lambs and they're so sweet. So come with me. We're gonna go into the stall and we're gonna meet the babies. Hey girls. Hey girls. Gotta make sure you close those gates. There we go. All right, are you ready? We're gonna meet our little twinsies over here. Hi, Mama. So they were born last week, last Saturday, and they are a week old. Actually, almost to the moment they were born last Saturday morning. Two little twin girls, and she's just the best mama and so sweet. She has just been just terrific. So they can typically have twins. Twins are very common, and we haven't had twins in a little while though, so this was kind of a fun treat. And it's really fun to see the interaction between, you know, the two sisters. When they were born, the older one was really aggressive and the younger one was kind of timid. The older one would actually push the younger one out of the way to nurse, even though she was nursing on one side. The younger one was on the other side. The older one wanted it all to herself. So right now, they are pretty active. What do lambs spend their day doing? They like to eat hay like mama. They actually can kind of eat from the moment they're born. They'll nibble on hay and oatmeal and things like that. They like to jump and run. Now you can see this little pen that we put them in. It's important that the mom and the baby bond, so they stay in here for a little while, and we'll probably be letting them out with the other sheep here shortly. So the lambs just really hang out all day. They're very curious. They're kind of chewy. They like to chew the bucket. They like to chew the edges of the pen and everything like that. So let's see if we can get a little bit of a close-up. They are very, you know, attached to mama. And sometimes they're not so sure about people. And so, you know, they might not come up to us straight away. See if we can get a little bit closer in here. Oh, hello, sweethearts. I did record a couple of really cute, we'll be bringing you another one of those really cute bedtime stories with the babies. Oh, there she is. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, sweetheart. I think Cheviot Lambs are just the cutest in the world. They have these fun little ears, like bunny rabbit ears. Hi, darling. Hi, darling. If you've ever heard of the plant lamb's ears, this is the reason why it feels just like a real pair of lamb's ears. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hi, darling. Hi, darling. These guys are so curious. When I come in the barn, I say, hi, girls. Hi, babies. And they come over and say hi to me. They come up to the edge of the pen. Oh, are you hiding behind mama? Isn't it just like little kids? They're like, come say hi, come say hi. And they go hide behind mom. That's always the way it is, isn't it? All right, let's see if we can swing this around. Sorry for the unstable camera here. Probably unsightly view of mama's back end. Oh, they're really hiding today. We'll try to see if we can get some more footage of them. So they are happy and healthy, enjoying life, and all the little things that little lammies like to do. Let's see if we can get another view around here. And then we'll go find, Maud the chicken. Okay, where are those babies of yours, Mama? There they are. There they are. Oh. What are they up to? What are they up to? Mama's always ravenous. She's like constantly hungry when I come in here. What are those babies? What are they up to? What are they up to? Somebody's nibbling. Somebody's nibbling. Hi. They also like to jump and leap. That's pretty fun to watch them jumping for joy. They'll nibble sometimes on each other's ears, and they like to sit nestled together. They're so precious. Definitely one of the highlights of raising sheep is just to see those little babies and how they interact with Mom, and just all the joy they bring. All right, well, let's go find Maud. I'll tell you her story, and then we'll head off to the gardens and I'll show you a little bit around there. So, chickens, we've got some chickens at the shop and they lay eggs. Maud does not really lay anymore. She is kind of old, and you know, chickens only lay eggs for so long. People often ask me, how old is Maud? I don't know. She's kind of old. Okay, where has she gone now? Oh, Maud! Sometimes this happens. Whenever we're looking for her, she disappears momentarily. I bet she's in the garden eating something. That's been her pastime here lately. All right, let's go find her. Maud, where are you? So Maud doesn't really have a home. She hangs out here in the barn with the sheep. And she's always doing something. Always getting into trouble. Hey, Maud, where are you? Oh, Maud. Oh, Maud. Where are you? Oh, she's really disappeared for good. Well, I might have to go look for her and post another video about Maud and her story when I find her. She's really taken off. Let's go check in one more place. You can hear that mama sheep in there. She wants to get out on the pasture and play. Well, thank you for joining me at the farm. And as I've shared a little bit about what we do and the animals that we raise, we're gonna check back in with a little video about Maud and also a video about the gardens. So thanks for joining me, everyone. It's been a lot of fun. Comment, let me know if you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer your questions. And yeah, enjoy this beautiful Memorial Day weekend. Bye, guys.